Hello, ladies and everyone. I'm Amber from headquarters. I'm absolutely delighted to finally be here in New Zealand and meet all of you. And I sincerely hope that today's lecture session will indeed be extremely helpful and beneficial to each and every one of you. I am in charge of not only Atomy Korea headquarters products, but also products operated globally. The product you see in front of you is a representative product of Atomy. Some of you may have seen it before, and for others it might be the first time. This product is one that we sell approximately over 200 million packs annually. Even at this moment while you are listening to the lecture, someone is consuming 7 packs per second. Since Atomy is a network marketing company, we do not engage in TV advertising or typical brand marketing activities. When it comes to Korea, many people are familiar with red ginseng. However, among the products exported from Korea, this product is exported in even greater quantities than red ginseng. So I have indeed thought about why HemoHim sells so well. I believe it's because people feel the effects after taking it, transcending race and nationality. Especially nowadays, there are many products in the market for immune management. For those who were already familiar with HemoHim, I hope you can understand how it differs from other immune products. If you had to choose just one to protect your immunity, I will explain today why you should take HemoHim. Yes, with the advancement of modern medicine, people have indeed come to live very well. However, it seems that they are not as healthy as one might think. Firstly, as the age increases, there has been a significant rise in the number of overweight people, and with the significant escalation in stress, there are also many people who complain of fatigue. You all know this, right? Modern people live much longer than people in the past. Those of you here will most likely live much longer than your parents. But the lengthening of life, as life gets longer and I really work hard, I think it's a different story to say that the period of living well is getting longer. If I end up spending 30 years lying in bed as I age, then living long doesn't really hold much meaning. For you to live healthily and well, to be active and enjoy life, if there's one function that needs to be enhanced, it's the immune function. Do you know what immunity is? Do you know what it is? Have you never thought about it? Even in your current body, cancer cells are growing. Depending on the study, it may vary slightly, but more than 5,000 cancer cells are continuously being produced in the body every day. But if the immune cells cannot eliminate them, you will develop cancer. No one can know whether I will get cancer tomorrow or not. Yes, indeed, in some cases my immune system works well. When you're too overweight and too tired, the immune system may not function well. In your body, even if you're not aware of it, there is a system operating to protect your body. Can people feel that the system is operating? No, they can't feel it. Of course, if you could feel it, it would be very painful. Can you feel when it's not working well? Yes, today we all had a seminar here, and some of you will go home and catch a cold from someone here today. Some will catch it, and some won't, and that's because of the immune system. But the immune system also feels the effects of aging. When do you start to feel it exactly? In your 30s, the immune system actually begins to age, and people often actually begin to feel it in their 40s. I mentioned that the immune system slows down as it ages, and a common symptom of an aging immune system is feeling tired. I talk about this a lot too. After reaching my mid-40s, my body doesn't feel the same as before. Why do I feel so tired after doing the same activities? Feeling tired means that the body is not recovering. But it's not just about feeling tired. I mentioned colds earlier. Respiratory-related illnesses are a prime example of the immune system's role. These are illnesses that often occur when the immune system isn't functioning, and the body can also feel sick. It also affects you mentally in many ways. Your mood drops. I don't want to do anything. Literally, this might not be a mental issue, but a physical one. Most modern people today gain weight when their health declines. So it is closely related to the diets you are concerned about. Hair also falls out. It causes many other diseases as well. These are typical symptoms that appear due to fatigue or weakened immunity. Before I came to New Zealand, I looked into what diseases are prevalent there. Yes, indeed, obesity seems to be the biggest issue, and surprisingly, respiratory-related illnesses seem to be more noticeable, and these are complications resulting from obesity. Heart diseases and constipation are also found to be quite chronic. There was a period when the entire world realized the importance of the immune system. Yes, that was during the COVID-19 pandemic. At this point, everyone questioned the medical system they trusted. Everyone seemed to think that it could no longer protect them. You might think that COVID-19 is over, but it is not yet finished. Recently, in Korea, the number of patients hospitalized due to the flu is skyrocketing. There are people who caught a simple cold and ended up can't walk. Yes, viruses are evolving faster than our rate of progress. In fact, more than any other era, this is a time when the ability to protect one's own body is most important. I tried to illustrate the concept of immunity in a challenging way. You might wonder, why do I need to know this? It's not like we're in bio class, why bother? You might think that, but consider it as something closely related to the quality of your life. When it comes to innate immunity, from the moment you are born from your mother's body, immunity is divided into the innate immunity given at birth and the adaptive immunity developed as you live. The acquired immunity is present in the child when a mother gives birth, and it exists in the same form as a system in your body as well. As for adaptive immunity, it depends on what pathogens you encounter as you live, and what all vaccines you receive. The reason why this is important is that when we indeed talk about the immune system, there are aspects where we need to view innate immunity and adaptive immunity differently. I mentioned that innate immunity is indeed something I have from birth, and the characteristic of innate immunity is that it responds quickly. For example, if someone attacks New Zealand, it doesn't matter whether it's the German army, the Korean army, or the Chinese army. Just think of them as soldiers going out to fight. And they act very powerfully. Here, a cell name that many of you have heard of comes up: NK cell. NK cell is an abbreviation for natural killer cell, and it is the name of a representative immune cell that reacts most powerfully and quickly. The reason I'm explaining this in detail is because HemoHim's performance includes NK cell activation. There are also macrophages. However, innate immunity cannot handle everything in the body's immune system. Then the adaptive immune system comes into play. Their characteristic is that they cannot multiply quickly, but they are very smart. These guys can recognize, this is the Chinese army. They can distinguish between the Korean army and the German army. There, they fight against each pathogen or enemy. Fighting the enemy is immunity. Let's explain it a bit more simply. You get vaccinated to prevent certain diseases, right? The vaccine contains crucial information about the pathogen. It tells us that it is strong in these areas and weak in those areas. So it includes information on how to attack and defeat it. In more technical terms, this is called the antigen-antibody reaction. For our innate and adaptive immune systems to indeed function well, the innate immune system must defeat the enemy while sending information. The substances sent at that time can be thought of as cytokines. So among the roles of HemoHim, the activation of cytokines is mentioned, and those who have encountered Atomy HemoHim might be aware of this. Here, the innate and adaptive immune systems use signaling substances to work well together, allowing the system to function smoothly. The secondary immune system can then be completed and activated. This is why cytokine activation is indeed crucial. And when we talk about adaptive immunity, we often hear familiar stories. Terms like T lymphocytes and B lymphocytes are mentioned, which can be considered representative adaptive immune cells. So T cells and B cells store memories of pathogens. When similar ones enter, they recall that memory to attack. Let me briefly explain what I mentioned earlier. A pathogen enters, the innate immune system will first operate. This is the same for the coronavirus, you know? It's same for TB bacteria. It's even the same for the harmless bacteria roaming outside. The innate immune system starts fighting quickly without hesitation. Macrophages or NK cell carry out these activities. While they are fighting, they send signaling molecules, and the adaptive immune system prepares its materials. So, after preparing well, the adaptive immune system resolves what the innate immune system couldn't. The reason vaccines work is because once they remember something, they can act stronger and faster. So if this process works well, our body becomes healthier. However, the immune products you usually find on the market mostly just somewhat boost one aspect. The only thing that can be activated, both the innate immune system and the acquired immune system, it is HemoHim in the world so far. I can say this because we also consult with doctors and look up research papers and review products mentioned in books. So thinking of HemoHim as a representative immune system product, or as a product that manages the immune system, is not correct. It pertains to the existing human immune system. You should understand it as a product that can enhance activity in each part. Yes, this is developed in Korea. Did Atomy develop it in Korea? Among the products we have, this is the only one that Atomy did not participate in developing. This product was developed by a national institution in Korea. Was it developed for Atomy to sell? This was not a product intended for sale. It was simply made for those who might be exposed to radiation, such as people working at institutions like the Atomic Energy Research Institute. Radiation is what can destroy the human body's immune system the fastest and most powerfully. That's why we use radiation in cancer treatment or autoimmune therapy, because it can kill quickly. But people working in such related institutions keep getting diseases due to the destruction of the immune system by radiation. So this is a product that was researched by a Korean national institution to protect those people. When it was first commercialized, it was sold at about 12 times the price we are selling it for now. But Atomy took this and made it a little more affordable for even more people. So for 8 years, this is actually a story from a long time ago. Before that, nearly 10 billion won was spent to develop this product in Korea. Since it was developed by a related research institution in Korea, it has officially completed human application tests. The reason we have these figures is because, as follows. The product was not invented for a single individual or a single company. So as we sell the product, we receive a lot of feedback about various effects. And we are still researching the product based on this feedback. For example, in the field, if someone says it helps with pregnancy, we conduct research based on clinical studies to understand its effects on pregnancy. Yes, so the current research on HemoHim is focused on the effects observed in the field. We seem to conduct a lot of research to prove these effects. HemoHim has currently received anti-doping certification in Korea. Some people might suspect that there could be toxins related to HemoHim, but it is safe for athletes to consume without any issues. You can think of it as a test that proves there are no toxic substances remaining in the body. And this is indeed a product that many athletes actually consume. The reason they take it is because there are many opinions that it helps with fatigue recovery and during exercise. There are many actual reviews, so athletes consume it a lot, but it needs anti-doping certification. Professional athletes can only consume it if it has this certification, which is why we obtained it. Based on the criteria I explained about HemoHim, it seems we can summarize it into these 4 causes. I mentioned that NK cell activation is the most important immune cell, which is the NK cell, and I mentioned that cytokines are signaling substances. We have also identified that it helps with the activation of other immune cells. And through several years of extensive research regarding fatigue, we received research results showing not just slight improvement, but definite enhancement. The individual recognition system in Korea is a system that guarantees the functionality of a product. It is known to be more stringent than getting approval from Health Canada in Canada. It is a more stringent certification than the TGA certification in Australia. Yes, in fact, it is more stringent than any other country. So there are cases where products certified abroad cannot pass the individual recognition system in Korea. Consider HemoHim as a product that benefits from not just one functionality. You can think of HemoHim as a product that benefits from 2 functions. HemoHim is made up of these 3 substances. It is made from angelica, white peony, and conidium officinale. When I explain it like this, many people think they should go home and take it. If you take 3 of them, one at a time, it has the effect of taking about 2 HemoHim. Yes, it's not just simply extracting and storing the 3 ingredients. We use a special method for extraction and patenting, exporting it with a unique process. You can think of it as a product with significantly enhanced necessary components. Yes, explanations about each ingredient have probably been given frequently by the company. It would be good to read about it on our website, but in the East, there is a combination of ingredients known to be beneficial since ancient times. Since I've been saying HemoHim is good, now I will provide you with the actual content of the experiments we conducted. I believe there are likely many diabetes patients in New Zealand. Regarding diabetes, we actually worked with pancreatic beta cells. It says that hemodynamics can be increased well. Typically, when you think of diabetes, you should consider it as a disease where insulin does not function properly. The frightening aspect of diabetes is not the disease itself, but the complications it brings. It is also a disease that, when contracted, can damage the body's immune system. So when we usually get sick, we inject insulin from outside. But hemoglobin is actually insulin in my body. It plays a role in normalizing the body by activating the cells that control it. Therefore, without the side effects come from direct injections from outside, It plays a significant role in improving your body. Earlier I mentioned that the radiation exposure destroys the human immune system the fastest and most strongly. This is by actually exposing to radiation and creating the same environment. It is an indicator showing how much improvement occurs. Compared to the control group, you can probably see the dark blue line rising for the group that was administered HemoHim. Thus, evidence shows HemoHim restores immune cells destroyed by radiation exposure. This indicates that HemoHim effectively returns them to their original state. If you look at this, the group administered with HemoHim, even after radiation exposure, you can see that B cells and T cells are maintained in large numbers without being damaged. And compared to the radiation-exposed group, the immune cell count itself is significantly higher. You might have heard a lot about HemoHim being good for cancer, and I understand that many people consume HemoHim in relation to cancer. Usually when you take HemoHim for cancer, it's not taken during chemotherapy, but after chemotherapy, it also greatly aids in recovery from the side effects of radiation therapy. So it's important not to take it directly during radiation exposure. You will need to go through a recovery period after the investigation. And regarding this, we have a lot of papers and such, and I will introduce them one by one. This is actual data from experiments we conducted. Of course, it wasn't done by Atomy. When we conduct experiments, we don't do them in-house. Because it needs to be done by an institution to have credibility, there is no in-house data here. This is the result of a test we conducted at Seoul National University for fatigue improvement, improved fatigue and exercise performance. The part about improving exercise performance showed significant improvement. What this means is, it not only helps with the simple feeling of I'm tired, but also improves other aspects. When physical activity decreases due to fatigue, let's imagine you are a cyclist. If you ride 50 kilometers, your body gets too tired to continue. The story that if you take HemoHim, you can get 60 kilometers, it temporarily reduces the fatigue that occurs during exercise and helps you to engage in more physical activity. However, if you look at these improvements, they are significantly better than expected. Now let's look at the next result. It shows that there are no side effects, including liver toxicity, while improving fatigue. In fact, we have expanded on the release data. Despite the improvement in exercise capacity, there is no toxicity, side effects, or human residue. Issues or getting caught in doping tests like testosterone, we have proven that there are absolutely none of these issues. So indeed, HemoHim has these kinds of functions. There is a synergy that allows you to enjoy many of the effects when taken with known ginseng. When we do that, we also have HemoHim. I will also explain the part about the antioxidant effects. What do you think of when you hear antioxidants? When you think of oxidation in the human body, you can simply consider it as aging. Vitamin C is known as a representative antioxidant inhibitor. But looking at these results, HemoHim is in a harmful environment, has been proven to help keep cells healthy by up to 57.3%. This has been demonstrated. Reactive oxygen species enter and destroy cells. And most of what I'm explaining now, when you physically feel the symptoms, you might think, my body feels a bit lighter, I feel a bit more active, or I feel a bit less tired. Next is the content about how good HemoHim is for inflammation. When you hear anti-inflammatory, you might think of faster wound healing. But indeed, many things happening in the body, such as stomach pain or intestinal pain, are often due to inflammation. But if you look here, TNF-alpha, a representative substance that causes inflammation, we are showing you data where these are effectively suppressed. When it comes to inflammation at Atomy, the representative product is noni. It might not have been officially launched yet, but I understand that many people consume it through direct import. If you want both antioxidant and inflammation management, taking HemoHim and noni together could be very helpful. Let me show you some more interesting data about these two products. Both products have anti-obesity effects. What that means is they help prevent weight gain. To prevent gaining weight, even if you eat a lot, it should not be stored as fat. And you need to effectively eliminate the fat in your body to avoid gaining weight by actually activating methyl gallate. Indeed, it plays a role in inhibiting fat accumulation and accelerating fat breakdown, as proven by our data. Since fat won't accumulate except for eating a lot, assuming you maintain the same general eating patterns, it means improving your constitution to prevent your body from becoming obese. Being overweight itself is an issue, but the diseases that arise from obesity are much more problematic. you should consider it a health issue. So indeed, our HemoHim has a surprisingly wide range of functions. We organized the topics of the papers we used. Here, we did not disclose papers of lower quality, at least those above the level of natural sciences, and it includes data from more than 20 SCI level papers. Those who write papers probably know well how difficult it is to write SCI level papers. The most common topics are related to the immune system, which many of you are familiar with. Yes, there is also a lot of data related to fatigue. Data includes skin health, antioxidants, anti-obesity, anti-diabetes. These various symptoms clearly show that HemoHim is indeed effective and beneficial. But is it over now? If you ask, we are still writing. So as many people consume it on site and report such effects, you can see that we are in the stage of scientifically proving this. Most of the functional improvements observed here are actually similar in noni as well. So we are also diligently writing papers on noni. I hope you indeed remember that HemoHim has these kinds of effects. Upgrading both the innate immune system and the adaptive immune system is something only HemoHim has achieved worldwide. So thank you for listening carefully. Thank you.